everyone, I am Angel Sebanyes, and this video is about Hildegard PEPLAU's theory. So first, let us proceed to her background, which is Hildegard Elizabeth PEPLAU is her full name, was born in Reading, Pennsylvania on September 1, 1909. In 1913, she graduated from a diploma program in Pottstown, Pennsylvania. She earned her degree of bachelor's in interpersonal psychology in 1943 at Bennington College. Finished Masters of Art in Psychiatric Nursing from Columbia University, New York in 1947. Next, in the early 1950s, she developed and taught the first classes for graduate psychiatric nursing students at Teachers College. And in 1952, she published Interpersonal Relationship in Nursing. In 1953, she achieved EDD in Curriculum Development. She had been a professor at Rutgers University from 1954 until her retirement in 1974. Next is started a post-baccalaureate program in nursing. She introduced interpersonal techniques, the crux of psychiatry nursing. She is known as the mother of psychiatric nursing. She was the only nurse who served at ANA as executive director and later as president, and worked with WHO, NIMH, and Nursing Corps. Finally, she died at March 17, 1999 at the age of 90 years at her own home in Sherman Oaks, California. So yes, she died at the age of 90, but she made many progress in her living, during her living. So, Interpersonal Theory by Hildegard PEPLAU is about how nurses and patients work together to improve the patient's health. It focuses on building a strong, helpful relationship through good communication and teamwork. This relationship goes through 4 steps, which is orientation, identification, exploitation, and resolution. And also, she describes 6 different roles of a nurse can play, like a teacher, leader, or counselor. So, Hildegard PEPLAU's theory is about the connection of the nurse and the patient itself, because they have to work together to help the patient with her needs or his needs, and also the patient will help the nurse to assist for what she is feeling, or assistance.
Now, we were going to talk about the 4 phases of overview of PEPLAU's theory. The number 1 is the orientation phase. This is the first meeting between the nurse and the patient, or the first stage of nurse and patient's relationship. Problem defining phase. In this phase, it's all about figuring out the problem of the patient. Starts when the client meets a nurse as a stranger. In this phase, the patient treats the nurse as a stranger in their first meet. Defining problems and deciding the type of service needed. In this phase, define the problem and decide what kind of help and treat is needed. Client asks and express. The patient talks about their problem. Nurse responds and help, and of course, the nurse is helped and responds to their problem. The number 2 is identification phase. This is the part of working phase, or the second stage of nurse-patient relationship. Clients work interdependently with the nurse. In this phase, the patient and nurse work together as a team to help the patient. Selection of assistants. In this phase, the nurse chooses the best way to help the patient. Patient feels capable and belonging. In this phase, the patient starts to feel capable and feel comfortable to their surroundings. Exploitation phase, or the third phase, This is the phase that emphasizes collaborative action. Client make full use of service offered. Here, the patient take full advantage of all the service offered to them. Nurse aid the patient in exploiting all avenues of progress. Here, the nurse help the patient use all the available source to make progress and recover. Resolution phase, or the final stage of the nurse-patient relationship. Clients no longer need professional service. This is where the patient no longer need professional nursing service. Next, where the nurse-patient relationship ends. This is the final, or when the relationship between the nurse and patient ends.
Next, we have the diagram for PEPLAU's theory of interpersonal relationship. So, first, in the nurse, we have culture, race, values, beliefs, past experiences, expectations, and preconceived ideas. Next is the patient, which is the values, culture, race, beliefs, past experiences, and expectations. So, in the center, we have nurse-patient relationship. So, we notice that may preconceived ideas yung sa nurse while yung sa patient wala. So, yun ang hinahanap ng patient sa nurse, which is yung preconceived ideas because yung patient walang kaalam-alam about sa sakit niya or ano yung dapat niyang gawin, kaya gagamitin yung preconceived ideas ng nurse to help assist the patient needs. So that is how they build a relationship towards each other.
The next one is the interpersonal theory and nursing process. Both are sequential and focus on therapeutic relationship. Both use problem-solving techniques for the nurse and the patient to collaborate with the end purpose of meeting the patient needs. Both use observation, communication, and recording as basic tools utilized by nursing. In summary, these 3 points underscore that both interpersonal theory and nursing process are structured, collaborative approaches that rely on fundamental nursing skills to provide patient-centered care. Both aim to establish therapeutic relationship and achieve positive patient outcomes through problem-solving and effective communication.
Next, we have the roles of the nurse. So first, we begin with stranger. Receives the client in the same way once meet a stranger in other life situations. Provides an accepting climate that builds trust. So, first is pagkikilala pa lang and hindi pa alam or kilala ng nurse yung patient at saka yung patient hindi pa kilala ganing yung nurse. So, dito mag-start yung relationship nila, which is getting to know each other, ganun. Next is teacher, who imparts knowledge reference to need or interest. So, dito natuturuan ng nurse kung anong kailangan ng patient, and since building connection or relationship and based sa theory ni PEPLAU, both sila ng patient at saka ng nurse is mag-work together. So, tuturuan ng patient, ituturo ng patient kung saan yung masakit or ano yung need na assistance, and ituturo din ng nurse kung ano yung mga dapat niyang gawin. Next, we have the resource person, or the one who provides specific needed information that aids in the understanding of a problem or new situation. So, kumbaga, yung nurse, yung magiging source of the right information para sa patient para mas maintindihan niya. Next is the counselor, helps to understand and integrate the meaning of current life to circumstances, provides guidance and encouragement to make changes. So, this is where they listen. The nurse listens and gives advice sa patient to make their lives change or change for the better, ganun. Kumbaga, bibigyan siya ng advice or makikinig siya sa mga nangyayari or yun, makikinig. Next is surrogate. So, surrogate helps to clarify domains of the independence, dependence, interdependence, and acts on client's behalf as an advocate. So this is where someone stands out or acts to or for the patient, helping them understand when to depend or to be independent, to speaks up for their needs. Next is leader, helps clients assume maximum responsibility for meeting treatment goals in mutual satisfying way. So in a mutual satisfying way. So this is where someone guides the patient and responsibly work together to reach the same goal. For the additional roles, technical expert, consultant, health teacher, tutor, socializing agent, safety agent, manager of the environment, mediator, administrator, recorder, observer, and researcher. So basically, a nurse can have different roles, not just a particular nurse that takes care of a patient. Amen.
Hi, my name is Danilo Sermonian. I'm going to discuss the PEPLAU's meta paradigm. Then first, we have here the man. PEPLAU defines man as an organism seeking to alleviate tension from needs, while the client or the client is an individual with a felt needs. So man, PEPLAU use the man's, or let's put the man as the patient, simply a person with a felt needs or may mga pangangailangan din. This is the problem or discomfort they know they need help with, the nurses. They're trying to relieve tension and feel better. And the second is health. So PEPLAU's views health more than just being disease-free. It is a focus on personal growth, becoming a more productive, creative, and capable person who can function well in their life and community. Third, we have the society or environment. PEPLAU suggests nurses should consider a patient's culture and mores when adjusting to the hospital routine, despite not directly addressing society or environment. So, the nurses needs to focus on the patient's culture and customs. When a patient comes into the hospital, the nurse must consider their cultural backgrounds, or personal backgrounds, to make the hospital routine work for them. And lastly, we have the nursing. So in this slide, nursing is a therapeutic one-on-one relationship with the nurse and the patient. Its whole purpose is to recognize the patient's health needs and work with them to solve those needs. And lastly, we have the major concept of PEPLAU's theory. So this slide is, or generally, this slide is described as therapeutic, or the nursing is a therapeutic or a healing art. It is a fundamentally an interaction where the nurse collaborates with the patients toward a shared objective. The nurse role is to help the patients identify their felt difficulties, or yung mga nararamdaman ng mga patients or demand na kailangang i-address sa tulong ng mga nurses. This is accomplished using human relations skills like listening to solve problems through an organized process. The outcome is mutual growth. Yung patient is makaka-achieve ng independence, and the nurse also gains expertise. So, in short, PEPLAU's theory highlights the power of the relationship itself as the core for healing and growth. Thank you.
Clarity and simplicity. So for the clarity, PEPLAU's theory is clear because it emphasizes nurse-client interaction as the foundation of nursing practice. It is easy to understand because since it promotes the mutual relationship and focuses on the relationship between nurse and patient. So for the simplicity is the theory. The theory is simple because it divides the two nurses, patients, and nurses' relationship into phases. So next is the generality and the accessibility. So for the generality, so this is the theory can be applied in different nursing situations by improving communication. So through communication can be improved your can be improved in the nursing situation, and then can apply in different situations. So for the accessibility is also accessible because it helps nurses, especially students, in understanding the rules and applying them effectively in a real situation. So for the next is the most important is the important of PEPLAU's theory is the therapeutic relationship. So nurses must develop communication and interviewing skills not only to care for patients physically but also to support their emotional and psychological growth. So next is the application meta-paradigm. And this slides highlights the nursing aspect, especially through PEPLAU's interpersonal relationship theory. And also PEPLAU emphasized that the nurse-client relationship is the foundation of nursing practice. So it means nursing is not just about giving medication or performing tasks, but also about building a strong therapeutic relationship with the patient to promote healing, trust, and recovery. So next is nursing meta-paradigm. So this slide shows that application of the nursing meta-paradigm in PEPLAU's theory. Nursing here is not just about giving care, but being instrument of growth. The interaction between the nurse and patient helps both of them learn to adapt and achieve a shared health and goal.